there is no doubt that what we have created is a monster. We've created a European Union which is deeply contemptuous of democratic process. This is the reason why I had, in the end, to resign and not to pursue what I consider to be moderate policies.
But you wanted Greece to stay in the Eurozone, and you now advise Britain to stay in the European Union, and yet you now call it a monster.
Yes, indeed. Indeed.
It seems entirely contradictory.
Well, it really isn't. I mean, I lived in a country, I grew up in a country which had a monstrous regime. That didn't mean that I wanted to either get out of it or to abandon it or to see Greece being dismembered. I wanted it to be democratized after our dictatorship in the 1967 to 1974 period. The same thing applies to the European Union. Let me put it this simply. If we had not created the European Union and the Eurozone, we should not consent to its creation. Is that clear? I think that's straightforward.
But once we have created them today, but as they currently exist.
But once we have created it, disassembling it, dismembering it, fragmenting it, is not going to take us to where we would have been had we not created. It's going to throw us into a terrible abyss. And let me just explain this very briefly. Suppose the European Union goes tomorrow, through Brexit, Grexit, centrifugal forces that tear us apart. What's going to happen? My prediction, and tell me if you think that you agree with me or not, is that there's going to be a huge fault line developing along the Rhine and north of the Alps, with Germany, Austria, the Netherlands, Finland, the Baltics, Poland, forming a Deutsche Mark zone, which will immediately go into a big recession as its currency appreciates through the roof. The rest of Europe, Latin Europe plus Greece, maybe Ireland, is going to go into a stagflationary spasm with very high inflation and high unemployment. The inflation will be due to the fact that their currencies are going to be depreciating. This will create a vortex. And Britain, as well as other nations that are in the periphery of all this vortex, are going to fall into it. There is no way that we as Europeans can escape a postmodern 1930s if this monster of the European Union disintegrates under the weight of its hubris and its contempt for democracy.